I used to think the worst thing that could happen on a Saturday morning was burning my coffee. Then my ex-girlfriend showed up at my door after 7 years of silence, with a 6-year-old boy claiming I was his father. The moment she said those words, my entire world tilted sideways. 7 years. Not a single text call or email. And now she was standing there demanding I take responsibility for a child I had never even heard of. That morning changed everything I thought I knew about trust manipulation and how far some people will go when they think you have something they want. Before I dive into how my peaceful Saturday morning turned into a 7-year nightmare, I would love to know where you are watching from. Drop your location in the comments below, hit that like button, and subscribe if you want to see how a single DNA test can expose the truth and turn someone's lies into internet infamy. Now let me take you back to the beginning of this insanity. 7 years ago, I was 25 and thought I had found something real with Brianna. We met through mutual friends at a barbecue, and for 8 months everything seemed perfect on the surface. She had this infectious laugh and a way of making even boring weekends feel special. But looking back, there were always little red flags I chose to ignore. She would tell small lies about where she had been or who she was with. There was always some drama with her friends, always someone who had wronged her, always a story that painted her as the victim. The relationship ended when I found text messages on her phone from her ex-boyfriend. Nothing explicitly inappropriate, but enough to make it clear they were still emotionally involved. When I confronted her, she cried and said I was being paranoid, but I knew what I had seen. I was not interested in being someone's backup plan, so I ended it. We had a relatively peaceful breakup, no big fights or screaming matches. She moved her stuff out of my place over a weekend, and that was it. I never heard from her again, not once in 7 years. During those 7 years, I rebuilt my life from scratch. I switched jobs, moved to a better apartment, and focused on my career as a software engineer. By the time I turned 32, I was making around $90,000 a year, working for a solid tech company. My apartment was small but comfortable, just the way I liked it. Clean lines, minimal furniture, everything in its place. I had dated a few women here and there, nothing serious. I was not opposed to a relationship, but I was not actively searching either. I had good friends, a close relationship with my parents and younger sister, and a routine that worked for me. Weekend mornings were my sacred time. Coffee, maybe a run, catching up on work emails before the week started. It was simple, peaceful, and drama-free. That particular Saturday started like any other. I woke up around 8, put on a pot of coffee, and was scrolling through my phone when the doorbell rang. I was not expecting anyone. When I opened the door, I felt like someone had punched me in the stomach. Brianna was standing there, but she looked nothing like the woman I remembered. Her face was drawn dark circles under her eyes, hair pulled back in a messy ponytail. She was wearing jeans and an oversized sweater that looked like it had seen better days. But what really stopped me cold was the little boy standing next to her, clutching her hand. He had big brown eyes and was staring up at me with the kind of curious silence only kids have. Brianna did not waste time with pleasantries. Her first words were, "Floyd, this is your son. His name is Liam." I actually laughed. Not because it was funny, but because my brain could not process what she had just said. What are you talking about?" She stepped closer, and I could see she was exhausted, maybe even desperate. "I got pregnant after we broke up. I did not tell you because I was scared and did not want to ruin your life. I have been raising him alone for 6 years, and I cannot do it anymore. I need help." My mind was racing. 7 years. We had broken up 7 years ago. If this kid was 6, the timeline could work, but it also felt wrong. We had always used protection. Always. I looked down at the boy again. He was still silent, just watching me with those big eyes. Part of me wanted to slam the door and pretend this was not happening. Another part of me felt a stab of guilt. What if he really was mine? Why now I finally managed to say, 7 years, Brianna. 7 years of silence, and now you just show up. She shifted uncomfortably. "Can we please come in? I do not want to talk about this in the hallway." I hesitated, but then I looked at the kid again. Whatever was going on between me and Brianna, he did not deserve to stand in a cold hallway. I stepped aside and let them in. Once they were inside my apartment, the situation felt even more surreal. Brianna sat on my couch like she belonged there, and Liam immediately pulled out an iPad from her bag and started playing some game, completely oblivious to the tension in the room. I stood near the kitchen counter, arms crossed, trying to make sense of this. Brianna started talking, and her story poured out like she had rehearsed it. After we broke up, she found out she was pregnant. She claimed she thought about telling me, but ultimately decided not to, because she did not want to burden me. She moved back in with her parents, and had been living there for the past 6 years, working part-time jobs and relying on their support. But recently, her parents had had enough. According to her, they told her they were tired of supporting her mistakes and gave her an ultimatum to find her own place and figure things out. "I have been struggling, Floyd," she said, her voice cracking. "I work at a grocery store part-time, and it is not enough. Liam needs things. School supplies, clothes, food. I cannot do this alone anymore." I felt a wave of conflicting emotions. If this was true, if Liam really was my son, then I had missed 6 years of his life. But something did not sit right. The timeline felt off, and the fact that she had waited this long made no sense. If she had really been struggling, why not reach out years ago? "How do I know he is mine?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. "We used protection every single time, Brianna. You know that." Her face flushed with anger. "Are you seriously calling me a liar right now? Look at him, Floyd. He has your eyes, your nose. I would not be here if I had any other option." That last sentence hit me like a slap. I was not her first choice. I was her last resort. Before I could respond, she pulled out her phone and showed me pictures. Photos of Liam as a baby, as a toddler, at birthday parties. In some of them, I could see Brianna's parents in the background, looking tired and older than I remembered. She scrolled quickly, talking the whole time about how hard it had been, how she had sacrificed everything, how I owed it to Liam to step up now. I told her I needed time to think. She was not happy about that, but she agreed to leave. As she gathered her things, she handed me a piece of paper with her parents' phone number on it. "If you do not believe me, call them. They will tell you the truth." After they left, I sat on my couch in stunned silence. My peaceful Saturday had turned into a nightmare. I did not know what to believe. Part of me felt guilty for even questioning her. What if Liam really was mine? What kind of person would I be if I turned my back on my own child? But another part of me, the logical part, knew something was not right. That afternoon my phone rang. It was a number I did not recognize, but when I answered, a gruff male voice said, "Is this Floyd?" "Yes. Who is this?" "This is Robert Walker, Brianna's father. We need to talk." My stomach dropped. The conversation that followed was one of the most uncomfortable I have ever had. Robert Walker did not waste time. He immediately started accusing me of abandoning Brianna and Liam. His voice was harsh, filled with anger and judgment. He told me I was a coward for running away from my responsibilities and that I owed them a life. He even threw out numbers: 7 years of unpaid child support, medical bills, childcare costs. According to him, I owed them tens of thousands of dollars. I tried to explain that I had just found out about Liam, that I had no idea he even existed. But Robert cut me off. "That is what they all say. You men are all the same. You have your fun and then disappear when things get real." I hung up feeling worse than before. Within an hour, Brianna's mother, Linda, sent me a long text message. It was less aggressive than Robert's call, but equally damaging. She wrote about how disappointed she was in me, how they had taken care of Liam when I should have been there, how Brianna had cried herself to sleep so many nights because she felt abandoned. The guilt was crushing, even though I knew logically that I had not done anything wrong. That night, I could not sleep. My mind kept going in circles. What if Liam was mine? What if I really had a son out there who needed me? But what if Brianna was lying? What if this was some kind of scam? The next morning I woke up to an email from Brianna. It was not a simple message, it was a detailed breakdown of expenses. She had listed everything: 6 years of child support at $7,000 per year, which came to $42,000. Medical bills, totaling $8,000. Child care costs of another $15,000. The grand total was $65,000. At the bottom of the email she wrote, "I am giving you 2 weeks to figure out how you are going to pay this. If you do not, I will take you to court, and I will make sure everyone knows what kind of man you really are." I stared at the screen, feeling my anger rise. This was not about Liam, this was about money. I immediately called my best friend Marcus, who happens to be a lawyer. I told him everything, and his response was immediate and firm. "Do not pay her a single cent," he said. "Not until you get a paternity test. This could be a scam, Floyd. You need proof before you do anything." Marcus was right. I sent Brianna a reply that was short and to the point. I told her I would not be paying anything until we had a DNA test to confirm paternity. Her response came within minutes, and it was furious. She accused me of trying to weasel out of my responsibilities, said I was being cruel to Liam, and that she did not need a test because she knew the truth. I did not back down. I told her that if she wanted any support from me, a paternity test was non-negotiable. She finally agreed, but not without conditions. She demanded that I pay half of the back child support before the test results came back. I refused. Marcus stepped in and arranged for the test to be done at a certified lab. It took a few days to coordinate, but eventually we set a date. Meanwhile, things got worse. Brianna posted something on Facebook. She did not mention my name directly, but it was obvious she was talking about me. She wrote a long post about being a single mother, about struggling to raise a child alone while the father lived his life without a care in the world. She called him a deadbeat, a coward, someone who refused to even acknowledge his own son. Some of our mutual friends from years ago saw the post and started commenting. A few of them unfriended me. I even got messages from people I barely knew, telling me I should be ashamed of myself. At work, a few coworkers started asking me questions. They had seen the post or heard rumors. I tried to brush it off, but it was hard to focus. My performance started slipping. My boss called me into his office one afternoon and asked if everything was okay. I gave him a brief explanation, and to his credit, he was understanding. But the damage was done. I felt like I was under a microscope being judged by everyone around me. The worst part was the isolation. Friends I thought would have my back started keeping their distance. I felt like I was drowning in assumptions and accusations, and I had no way to defend myself until the test results came back. I barely slept. I lost weight. My apartment, which had always been my sanctuary, started to feel like a prison. The day of the DNA test finally arrived. Brianna showed up with Liam, and her attitude was icy. She barely looked at me. The lab technician was professional and efficient. They swabbed the inside of my cheek and then did the same for Liam. The whole process took less than 10 minutes, but it felt like an eternity. As we were leaving, Brianna leaned down to Liam and said loud enough for me to hear, "This is your daddy doing some paperwork, sweetie. Everything is going to be fine." I felt a stab of guilt looking at the kid. He had no idea what was going on. He was just a 6-year-old caught in the middle of adult drama. Whatever the results were, I knew Liam was the real victim here. The lab said it would take 5 business days to get the results. Those 5 days were the longest of my life. I could not focus on anything. I kept playing out different scenarios in my head. If Liam was mine, I would have to figure out how to be a father to a kid I did not know. If he was not, then Brianna had lied to me, to her parents, and to everyone else. Either way, my life was going to change. Marcus kept telling me to stay calm and wait for the facts, but waiting felt impossible. Brianna sent me more texts during that time, each one more manipulative than the last. She sent pictures of Liam at school, at the park, smiling and playing. She wrote things like, "He asks about you every day," and "Do not you want to be part of his life?" It was emotional blackmail, and I knew it, but it still got under my skin. On the 5th day, I was sitting at my desk at work when the email notification popped up on my phone. It was from the lab. My hands were shaking so badly, I almost dropped my phone. I stepped outside into the parking lot, where I could have some privacy, took a deep breath, and opened the email. The words swam in front of my eyes at first, but then they came into sharp focus. Probability of paternity, 0%. I read it again, and again, 0%. Liam was not my son. Brianna had lied. About everything. I felt a rush of emotions all at once. Relief, because I was not responsible for a child I had never known. Anger, because she had put me through hell for weeks. And sadness, because somewhere in all of this was a little boy who deserved better than a mother who used him as a pawn. I immediately called Marcus. I knew it. I practically shouted into the phone. I freaking knew it. 0%. He is not mine. Marcus was silent for a moment, then said, "Okay. Now we need to handle this carefully. Do not confront her over text or phone. Do it in person in a public place and record everything. You need documentation." He was right. I screenshot the results and saved every single email and text message Brianna had sent me. Then I sent her a message, asking to meet at a coffee shop downtown. She agreed, probably thinking I was ready to start writing checks. 2 days later, we met at the coffee shop. It was mid-morning, so the place was busy enough to have witnesses, but not so crowded that we could not talk. I had my phone in my pocket set to record. In my state, it was legal to record a conversation as long as one party consented, and I was that party. Brianna walked in looking confident, almost smug. She ordered a latte and sat down across from me. So she said, stirring her drink, "Are you ready to do the right thing?" I reached into my bag and pulled out an envelope. I slid it across the table to her. "Open it." She frowned but opened the envelope. Inside was a printed copy of the DNA test results. I watched her face as she read it. The color drained from her cheeks. Her hands started to tremble. "This cannot be right," she whispered. "The lab made a mistake. It is a certified lab," I said, keeping my voice calm. "One of the most accurate in the state. 0%, Brianna. Liam is not my son. You lied." She looked up at me, and I could see the panic in her eyes. No, this is wrong. They mixed up the samples or something. We need to do it again." "There is no mistake," I said firmly. "You knew he was not mine. You have known the whole time. You just thought you could trap me into paying for him because you knew I had a stable income." Her panic turned to anger. "You do not understand. I was desperate. My parents kicked me out. I needed help." "So you lied," I said, my voice rising slightly. "You tried to manipulate me. You got your parents to harass me. You posted lies about me on social media, and you demanded $65,000 for a child that is not even mine." People in the coffee shop were starting to look at us. Brianna's voice got louder. "You still owe me. You broke my heart 7 years ago. You ruined my life. I do not owe you anything I said. And you tried to ruin my life with your lies." That is when she lost it. She stood up so fast her chair fell backward. She grabbed the papers and threw them at me, screaming, "You are a horrible person. I will make sure everyone knows what you did. No one will believe you." Her voice was shrill, echoing through the coffee shop. The barista looked like she was about to call security. I stayed seated, keeping my voice low and calm. "The DNA test does not lie, Brianna, and everyone will know the truth." She was crying now, mascara running down her face, but it was not sadness. It was rage and humiliation. She grabbed her purse and stormed out, nearly knocking over a table on her way. I sat there for a moment, my heart pounding. Then I realized that several people in the coffee shop had been watching the whole thing. One woman near the window had her phone out. I did not think much of it at the time. 2 days later, Marcus called me. "Have you been on TikTok today?" "No, why?" "Someone posted a video of your confrontation with Brianna. It is going viral." I immediately opened the app and searched. Sure enough, there it was. A video taken from across the coffee shop showing Brianna's meltdown. The caption read, Woman caught lying about paternity freaks out when confronted with DNA results. The video had already gotten over 2 million views. The comments section was overwhelmingly on my side. People were calling Brianna out for paternity fraud, for emotional manipulation, for trying to scam an innocent man. Some comments were harsh, but most were supportive of me. Within 48 hours, the video had been shared across multiple platforms. Someone dug up Brianna's old Facebook post about the deadbeat dad and connected the dots. People started tagging me, sending messages of support. Brianna's social media accounts were flooded with negative comments. She deleted everything within a day and disappeared from the internet entirely. In the aftermath, Marcus suggested I post my own statement to set the record straight. I was hesitant at first, but I realized he was right. I needed to control the narrative. I made a post on my social media explaining the entire situation. I attached the DNA results with personal information redacted. I shared screenshots of the emails and texts where Brianna had demanded money and threatened to ruin my reputation. I made it clear that I had been willing to step up and be a father if Liam had been mine, but that I was not going to be scammed by lies. The response was overwhelming. The post was shared thousands of times. Old friends who had unfriended me reached out to apologize. Strangers sent messages telling me I had done the right thing. A few small news outlets even picked up the story, running articles with headlines like "Man clears name after paternity fraud attempt and DNA test exposes elaborate lie." About a week after everything went public, I got a phone call from a number I recognized. It was Robert Walker, Brianna's father. I almost did not answer, but curiosity got the better of me. "Floyd," he said, and his voice sounded completely different from the first time we spoke. He sounded tired and ashamed. "I owe you an apology, a big one." I did not say anything, just waited for him to continue. "Linda and I had no idea," he went on. "Brianna told us you were Liam's father. We believed her. We have been supporting her for years because we thought we were helping our grandson. But after the DNA results came out, we started asking questions. Turns out you are not the first guy she has tried this with." That caught me off guard. "What?" "She pulled the same thing with 2 other men before you," Robert said. "We found out from one of her old friends. Brianna has a pattern. She finds a guy who is doing well financially, claims he is Liam's father, and tries to get money out of him. The real father is some guy she dated briefly. He is in another state and does not even know Liam exists." I felt a mix of vindication and disgust. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because you deserve to know the truth. And because Linda and I feel terrible about how we treated you. We were trying to protect our daughter and grandson, but we were lied to just like you were. If there is anything we can do to make this right, please let us know." I appreciated the apology, but I told him there was nothing they needed to do. The truth was out, and that was enough for me. I did think about taking legal action against Brianna for defamation or attempted fraud, but Marcus advised against it. "It will just drag this out longer," he said. "You have already won. Let it go." He was right. I did not want to spend more time or energy on this. I just wanted to move on. I did tell Robert that if Brianna ever contacted me again, I would file for a restraining order. He assured me that would not happen. Apparently, Brianna had moved to another state to live with a relative trying to escape the fallout from the viral video. The first few weeks after everything settled down were strange. I felt exhausted, like I had been running on adrenaline for so long that my body did not know how to relax. I took a long weekend and went to visit my parents. They had been supportive through the whole ordeal, and it felt good to be around family who knew the truth from the start. My mom made my favorite meals, and my dad and I spent an afternoon working on his old truck in the garage, not talking about Brianna or Liam or any of it, just being present. My younger sister gave me a hug and said, "I am proud of you for standing up for yourself." That meant more to me than she probably realized. Back home, Marcus and a few close friends organized a small get-together at a local bar. It was not a celebration exactly, more like a quiet acknowledgement that I had made it through something difficult. We played pool, drank beer, and laughed about stupid things that had nothing to do with paternity tests or viral videos. It felt good to be around people who had never doubted me. Slowly, I started to feel like myself again. My work performance improved. I started sleeping through the night. I even started dating again, though I was definitely more cautious. I set clearer boundaries and paid attention to red flags I might have ignored before. The whole experience had taught me that kindness should not come at the expense of self-respect. I thought a lot about Liam during those weeks. I hoped he was okay. He was an innocent kid, caught up in his mother's schemes, and that was not fair to him. I hoped that wherever Brianna had gone, she would get her act together for his sake. But that was not my responsibility. I had to let it go. As time passed, I realized something important. This whole nightmare had taught me about the importance of protecting yourself, even when it feels harsh. I had almost paid $65,000 for a lie because I was too kind, too willing to believe that people would not weaponize guilt and decency against me. But some people will. Some people see kindness as weakness and try to exploit it. I learned that it is okay to ask for proof. It is okay to stand your ground when something does not feel right. Trust is important, but so is verification. I should not have felt guilty for demanding a DNA test. That was not me being cruel. That was me being smart. I also learned something about forgiveness. I do not hate Brianna. Honestly, I pity her. She chose deception over honesty, manipulation over integrity, and now she has to live with the consequences of that. Her own parents lost trust in her. She lost her community, her reputation, and had to run away to start over somewhere else. That is a heavy burden to carry, and I would not wish it on anyone. But I also learned that forgiveness does not mean letting people off the hook. It means releasing the anger so it does not poison you. I forgave Brianna not for her sake, but for mine. I did not want to carry that bitterness around for the rest of my life. The experience also taught me about character. Your character is not proven when everything is easy and everyone believes in you. It is proven when the world is against you, when people are calling you a deadbeat and a liar, when even friends start to doubt you. That is when you find out who you really are. I am proud that I stood firm in the truth, even when it would have been easier to just pay the money and make the problem go away. Months later, I heard through the grapevine that Brianna had moved to another state and was living with a cousin. I do not know what happened to her after that, and honestly, I do not need to know. That chapter of my life is closed. I hope she figured things out for Liam's sake, if nothing else. But that is not my story to follow anymore. What I do know is this. The truth always comes out eventually. It might take time. It might take a DNA test. It might take a viral video. But lies cannot hide forever. And when the truth does come out, you want to make sure you are on the right side of it. Not because you want to win or prove people wrong, but because living in truth is the only way to have real peace. I look back on that Saturday morning when Brianna showed up at my door, and it feels like a lifetime ago. In some ways, I am grateful for the experience. It taught me things about myself I did not know I needed to learn. It showed me who my real friends are. It reminded me that standing up for yourself is not selfish. It is necessary. Sometimes the hardest battles we fight are not against other people. They are against our own guilt, our own fear of being seen as the bad guy, our own instinct to be kind even when kindness is being used against us. Winning those battles means being willing to stand alone if you have to demand proof when everyone tells you to just trust, to say no when the world is pressuring you to say yes. I do not know where Brianna is now or what her life looks like. I hope she learned something from all of this, though I doubt it. People like that rarely change. But that is not my concern anymore. My concern is living my life with integrity, protecting my peace, and never again letting anyone make me feel guilty for things I did not do. If there is one thing I want anyone to take away from my story, it is this. Do not let anyone shame you into doing something without proof. Do not let guilt be weaponized against you. And do not be afraid to stand up for the truth, even when it is uncomfortable, even when people judge you, even when it feels like the whole world is against you. Because in the end, the truth is the only thing that matters. And when you stand in truth, you can walk away with your head held high, no matter what anyone else thinks. The video of Brianna's meltdown is still out there somewhere, probably still getting views and comments. I do not watch it anymore. I do not need to. I lived through it. I survived it, and I came out stronger on the other side. That is my victory. Not the viral video, not the public vindication, but the quiet knowledge that I did the right thing and refused to be a victim of someone else's lies. So here I am back to my quiet Saturday mornings with coffee and no drama. My apartment is peaceful again. My life is mine again. And I have learned one of the most valuable lessons a person can learn. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is simply refuse to believe a lie even when believing it would be easier. What would you have done in my situation? Would you have demanded the DNA test right away, or would guilt have made you hesitate? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If this story resonated with you, or if you know someone who needs to hear it, please share this video. Hit that like button if you believe in standing up for truth and subscribe for more real stories about navigating life's unexpected challenges. Thank you for listening to my story, and I hope it reminds you that no matter how dark things get, the truth will always find a way to shine through. Stay strong, trust your instincts, and never let anyone make you feel guilty for protecting yourself.